Welcome, welcome, welcome. Folks, welcome back to another episode of Dominant Mets Nation. And could it get any worse? Yes, it certainly can, because the New York Mets have just gone through an historic sweep where the Pittsburgh Pirates, coming in at 32-50, just swept the New York Mets, outscoring the New York Mets 30 runs to 4 after winning 12-1 today. Another horrible starting pitching performance from the starting pitcher of the Mets, Frankie Montas. Yeah, some people thought he would be the savior. That minute few of Met fans, he's not the answer. Certainly not the answer right now. So right now, it's just Clay Holmes and possibly David Peterson, because the Mets have no starting pitching. They have no heart, no fight, no desire. This was supposed to be a World Series competitor, a World Series contender. No, no, and no. Folks, look it up. When was the last time the New York Mets lost to a team 18 games under 500 and lost by a margin of 26 runs in a 3-game series? I was trying to find it. I was going back years and years. I can't find it. So I know it had to happen, but a team at least 18 games under 500, you play this bad against, folks? This bad. All right, folks, I know I did a video yesterday, and we're going to get into some great topics today. Obviously, we have this historically bad performance. We're going to get into Stearns. Is it too late? Is it too late? Because there's a big factor. We know David Stearns obviously is the architect right now. Not looking so great, but we're going to talk about one key thing. I also want to talk about one move. After that, before the end of the video, I want to talk about one key move that we could make that could potentially kind of turn this thing around. I have my idea. While this video is playing, please think of your idea. If the Mets could make one move, what would it be? Okay, folks. Again, let's start off this video right. We want to start to get off some great traction on this channel. I apologize. The last couple months, not so many videos, but you know what? We got to get this ball rolling again. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're a Mets fan, baseball fan. If you love baseball, hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you at Dominant Mets Nation. Okay, folks. Again, the historic nature of this weekend. I mean, historically bad. Losing 1-9 on Friday, 2-9 on Saturday, and today 1-12. I mean, folks, we're not pitching. We're not scoring. We're not hitting. We are not doing anything right. I mean, it felt like I was watching a minor league game today. Minor league, and you got Travis Janikowski. I'm like, all right, maybe he's going to be the best looking pitcher of the day. I mean, it is just so pathetically kind of putrid. And, my last video probably was my most negative video out of my last 100 videos, right? 98 positive videos, one bad video. And people are saying, he's not a Mets fan. He's not a Mets fan. I'm a big Mets fan. I am a huge Mets fan. And, this actually hurts. This hurts. It hurts to see a team that obviously we invested so much in after signing Juan Soto, after getting to 2 games short of the World Series last year. I mean, it really does hurt. But you know what? At this point right now, I'm not giving up hope. But I'm also going to call out when the team is beyond pathetic, when the team is not playing up to par. It's the team's fault for underperforming and for not coming out to play. It's the team's fault. It's not me. It's not the fans. It's the team. We are paying an arm and a leg to support this organization. An arm and a leg. Take a family out to Citi Field. See how much money you have to pay out of your wallet. So, I'm telling you, we and the people who don't go out to Citi Field, you sit down, you watch the New York Mets, you could be doing something else, but you are investing in your team. And this is the performance that we are getting. Steve Cohen told us last year he was disappointed. Fans weren't coming out late August, September. Well, you know what? A lot of fans have been hurt and burned in the past. You saw this in 2023. It wasn't that long ago when in 2023, we went into the year, great large expectations, spent a lot of money on pitching. We had a great run the year before, then 2022, just like we did last year in 2024. And in June, the bottom fell out. I mean, it is so reminiscent of what happened 2 years ago. So, what is going to happen? What can we do to make this right? So, we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about some specific players. You hear in the news, Luis Severino. Things aren't going right in Oakland. People are posing. Could Luis Severino be a match for the Mets? I mean, other people are saying Jose Quintana, but Jose Quintana is doing pretty decent, and he's making $2 million. The Mets decided not to pay him $2 million in March. They decided not to. Not that he would be the answer, but he would be another guy to eat up innings. But, I have a couple solutions, a couple guys that I'm thinking of, and I'll run that by you. But is it too late? Has Stearns already screwed up? Because at this point right now, the Mets are in a free fall, right? Who can deny it? The Mets are in a free fall. 3-13 in their last 16 games. 3-13, right? And you have people saying, what's wrong with you? You got to support your team. 3-13. We're not talking about 1 series, 2 series, 3 series, 4. We're talking about almost 5 series right now. And you are talking about not only losing against teams that are talented. I mean, the Braves, they were 10, 15 games under 500 when we played them. So they weren't really world beaters. The Phillies, they were playing decent, but we've always beaten the Phillies. And now we lose to the lowly Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, the guys right now aren't showing that they care. Last year, I remember we needed that bolt. Remember, we had that team meeting, and we had the rumors yesterday. BS. Oh, we're going to have a team meeting. Like, that's going to, catapult us into a stratosphere. Yeah, okay, that's just talk right now. We need to see it on the field. I couldn't believe yesterday, you're going to have a team meeting. Things are going to get better. Okay, okay. And honestly, in a situation like this, we're going to have, as sad as it seems, we're going to have, and maybe it's not sad to some people because we've seen a lot of silly moves, but you're going to see Carlos Mendoza on the hot seat because not only are they losing, it's how they are losing. It's how the team looks. You're not seeing the team fighting. You're not seeing hard-fought games. So you are not even seeing us be able to compete with lowly teams. It's how we're losing, folks. How we're losing. That is the definition of how things bad, or that defines how bad things are, because there's no fight in this team. Last year, obviously, Iglesias, he brought a lot of fight and energy. Lindor, obviously, when he went to the leadoff position, Winker, he brought a little more fight. So we're without players. We have injured players this year. But we are certainly missing something. And what I was alluding to before is it too late for Stearns to dramatically fix this? Because as I was saying, the leverage, we're in a free fall. Any type of big package, any team's going to say, the New York Mets, they want to gain a positive asset. Well, they're going to have to pay up because they're in a very desperate situation. The demand for the New York Mets right now is high, through the roof. The demand for talent on this team is high, supply and demand. We demand talent. Some other team has a supply. They're going to say, hey, you got to pay up. So we are not in an advantageous position to acquire talent. That's why a couple months ago, I'm like, okay, we're in a good state. Let's try to get better. Let's add on. Good teams in the past, Dodgers. Everybody like, why are the Dodgers adding Yamamoto? Why are they adding Sasaki? Why are they adding Teoscar Hernandez? Why did they have add Ohtani when they were coming off a 100-win season? That's when you make additions. You make additions to get better and better and better, because teams, it's natural. Teams regress if you have status quo. Status quo is not a good thing. It's not your friend. It is really not your friend. It's a very long season, 162 games. You need that fire and desire. You need to inject life. Last year, the Mets, first year under David Stearns, there was a lot of unknown certainty. So I think that really kind of motivated the players. this year, there is a lot of, I think, lapsadaisical status quo nature on this team. Maybe players seeing Juan Soto go through it for the last couple months, get paid $800 million, but he's gotten it going. He's gotten it going. As he's gotten it going, the rest of the team hasn't gotten it going. So, the thing is, right now, the price to pay to play is going to be high if you're going to acquire talent. So what do the New York Mets have that other teams don't? Well, the New York Mets are the richest team in baseball right now, right? Or one or two. Steve Cohen has a damn great. He's got a big payroll. But he's got a big bank account, so he could spend the money if he wants to. The Mets right now are over the $300 million Steve Cohen luxury tax. So anybody you acquire at this point is going to cost you double. I know we're a couple months into the season, so technically, if a guy's making $20 million, it's not going to cost you $40 million, but whatever he's going to make the rest of the season, it's going to basically cost double. So Luis Severino is on a 3-year, $67 million contract, so he's making about $22 million a year. So, if you acquired that guy in the beginning of the season, that's almost a $40 million player. He's a guy right now who's struggling mightily. If you haven't seen, his ERA is around 5. His record, I believe, when last time I checked, was 2-8. He's a guy right now I'm not clamoring to get right now. I'm not clamoring. Even though he was successful last year, he has the injury history. Now he has the status quo of that 3-year, very large contract. He's not a guy I really want. We already gave Monaya 3 years, $25 million. Severino in the offseason, I thought he was overpaid. He's not a guy that right now I would be so high to trade for. He's really not. The upside there is not the greatest. So what do? Well, again, you have the money. You could, it doesn't matter. Steve Cohen could still play the luxury tax if there is great upside. You could deal prospects, but there's a lot of top prospects. Brandon Sproat, our top prospects, he hasn't been doing that great. Our guys in the minor league, our top guy, Drew Gilbert, he's moved right down the ranking. Ronnie Mauricio, he came up this year. A lot of our guys, Luis Angel Acuna, the value has gone down on these guys. That's what we have done a very bad job. Blake Tidwell, the value on these guys, you brought them up to the major leagues. You haven't really developed them. And the guys in the minor leagues, they haven't really been, developed, to the level that you thought they might have been. We have some guys who have been playing great, the Jonah Tongs of the world who have been great, but, Nolan McLean's, but other guys, the value isn't really as there. So we do have some value, but you don't want to give up your true value right now. You want to continue to develop and hope that the guys who are off to a bad start turn it around. So what do? So I think right now you're going to have to get really creative. You need excitement on this team. You need to think outside the box. In, I believe, 2018, the Brewers traded for a man by the name of Christian Yelich. Right? So Christian Yelich, he was always a very good player for the Marlins. Very good player. When he went to the Brewers, took it to another level. When you think, what is a guy who can kind of do that? Like same age, maybe making a lot of money, maybe he's on a team that is in a bit of a crisis. And, the thing is, there's a guy out there that I think, he has a long contract. He has a very long contract, making a decent money, but the money that he's making, it's projected throughout the next 10 years. It may not seem as big when we get 5 years down the road as maybe it did when he signed the contract. And that man is Fernando Tatis Jr., right? Fernando Tatis Jr., he is on the Padres. The Padres currently right now, I believe they're 1 game out of the wild card. They're 45-38, right? So again, why would the Padres do this? Well, we all know in the beginning, before the season start, they were going through legal battles about the team ownership, and they had to cut payroll. And right now, if you think about it, right now, they are a team with a hell of a lot of competition in the West Coast. They have the Dodgers, they have the Giants, who, I think they're a team on the rise. And, the Arizona D-backs, they're only 4 games behind the Padres, but they got to get past a couple teams. Right now the New York Mets have the number 1 wild card spot. The Brewers are there and the Cardinals are there. But then, you got the Padres in the 4th spot. You got the Giants right behind them. You have the Reds a game and a half behind the Padres. You have the Braves. They're 7 games behind the Padres, but they've been making some noise. So there's about 3 or 4 teams that are right around the Padres, not in the playoffs yet, that are going to be great competition for the Padres. If there's a move right now that could kind of help the Padres shed payroll, and Fernando Tatis, this is his probably, I would say, probably going to be his best season since 2021, but he's not having, that type of performance that he did in 2021. Last year in 102 games, he was 21 home runs, 49 RBIs. 2 years ago, 25 home runs, 78 RBIs. So in the last 2 years, okay player. This year, he's got a 3.4 wins above replacement. He's a guy, he could play the outfield. He's 26 years old. I think he's a guy that you can actually put in center field. I think he's a guy who can put in center field. And here's the deal. I believe that the Mets would have to make the evaluation. If they could project Fernando Tatis as a future center fielder, former shortstop, has a cannon for an arm, great range, exciting player, if they could take most of that contract back, and he's only signed till 35. It's not even like he's a guy signed through 41, 42, like, some players are. He's signed through 35. And you have your electric center fielder for the next 7, 8 years with Francisco Lindor, with Juan Soto. And, now you are building an exciting lineup. Pete Alonso, he wants to come back next year. Okay, maybe, or he decides to play hardball and leave. At least the New York Mets got their additional bat, a guy who can help them play, defensively, a guy who brings excitement. This guy's going to bring excitement. He's one of the most exciting players in the league. Folks, that is a guy that whatever the Mets have to do, and, a lot of people are saying it's difficult. Of course it's going to be difficult to pull off, but this is why you get a guy like David Stearns. You get an executive like David Stearns who makes it work. I'm telling you, you make it work if you're David Stearns and you believe he can play center field. And I believe, he is a very talented player, and I don't think in the last 3 years he has played anywhere near his ceiling, which means you could get him at a bit of a value price. And also, which means the Padres are in a situation where they are looking to shed money. They're going to be looking to shed money. They're still dealing with issues. So that is my one player. You might like it, you might hate it, but what's your one player? Let me know your one move. So again, on Severino, I'm a no on Tatis Jr., that would be a move I think could help defensively, offensively, and also help the overall energy of this team. Okay. Also, other guys out there that we're going to see, and, this is a bit more tough. This is a bit more tricky, but, Sandy Alcantara, that was a big name talked about in the beginning of the year. Sandy Alcantara has since gone out there and played terrible. He's been 4-8, 7 earned run average. He has given up 62 earned runs in 80 innings. Got almost a 1.5 whip. So he is not doing well. So, there's also a guy too that, you might be able to trade for at his lowest value. Sandy Alcantara has not shown that he is really, he's coming back from an injury. So here's the thing. If I'm a Mets fan and I am an executive, I look at it this way. Maybe I can get him at a bargain basement price. And I look at it like this. The guy's coming back from an injury. He's going to take some time to get back to his normal self. He's still got the velocity. His location, with the games I've seen, his location has been off. That's the thing. Location is very important. If, you can't locate and you end up throwing, no matter how good you are as a pitcher, if you're throwing it over the zone, the professional hitters are going to hit it. That's another move I kind of look into. But at this point, we need to add talent. add talent at all costs, and use our advantage, our resources. I don't think at the end of the day, a guy like David Stearns has been aggressive enough. I don't think so. The only aggressive move the Mets have made since Stearns has been here is going out and getting Juan Soto. And that move, according to all reports, is 99.99% attributed to Steve Cohen. So, essentially, what has been the most aggressive move made by David Stearns? What has been the best, most aggressive move? And there's been a collection of middle tier moves, but there really haven't been any needle movers, in my opinion. There really hasn't. I mean, that Christian Yelich move hasn't been there yet right now. We haven't acquired any real talented players through the trade market. So it's lacking right now. And this series has to be waking up Mets fans right now. Because if I'm a Mets fan right now, I am thinking long and hard about going out to Citi Field and shelling out my hard-earned money. And I think David Stearns, Steve Cohen have to keep that in mind. Yes, we supported the team the first couple of months, but this is not going to be infinity supporting the team. We need production. And to all you fans who, no matter what, they're a game out, 2 games out, I support the team. Well, you have to also be observant about how they are playing. How does you're an owner of a store, you're an owner of a company. You want to support your workers, but you don't support your workers no matter what they do. If they are unproductive, if they aren't taking the right steps to win or to produce, you make a change or you do something immediately, or else you're going to fail. And, ultimately right now, again, the goal is World Series. That's what we were sold. That's what I was sold. That's what I'm pretty sure every single Mets fan after last year believed. And we are so far off of that vision right now. And what you did was in the last couple of weeks, you gave hope to every single National League competitor, who wants to make the playoffs, especially the Braves. We jump-started them. The Phillies right now are thinking that, the Mets, who are the Mets? Who do they Mets have? The Phillies starting rotation is leaps and bounds better than us. And, I had some great comments in the last video, and I will, please continue to drop the comments. Even though I haven't responded writing, I read almost every single comment. And great stuff. I know a lot of people are saying, what? Kodai Senga, Sean Manaea, just wait. They're going to be coming back. But you know what, folks? I mean, if Sean Manaea and Kodai Senga were just this problem, I mean, we also, too, we can't win every game 2-1 or 2-0. This offense is not jump-started. This offense is not working, and we need a bullpen, too. So there are many aspects of this team that are malfunctioning right now. So, these are just my thoughts right now. I wish I could be more positive. I really wish I could be more positive, but why would I be positive about such a negative situation? I mean, I'm just trying to be realistic. 3-13 in the last 16, and playing against the Pittsburgh Pirates, who came in at 32-50. 32-50. This was the weekend. I would say to get right, but they won the last 2 games against Atlanta. This was the weekend to stay right, to extend our winning streak, to get on a roll, to, really turn the page. And the New York Mets have said, hey, no, you thought we were turning the page against Atlanta? No, this is who we are, at least for right now. So, and then, and I'm going to continue to say this, I still don't believe Francisco Lindor is healthy. He's going out there. He's putting up a valiant effort. But, Francisco Lindor in the last 16, 17 games has been abysmal, hitting one. I believe I saw it 163, around in the 160s. So abysmal. So we need to get Lindor going. Again, you heard my one move. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, let me know yours. And again, it's something. It's something. It is something. And just let me know what your move is. And again, let me know anything, any questions, concerns. Even if you disagree, make your point, make a case down below. That's where the comment section is for. Uh, and again, thank you so much for getting to the end of the video. Like and subscribe. I love to have you for this video and future videos. And I will speak to everyone soon. And I'm hoping this gets better. I'm going back to my old saying, it can't get any worse. Probably will. But as a Mets fan, I desperately hope that this gets better soon. I love to, honestly, I was hoping to celebrate a World Series this year. And this is why, I'm like, how could we go from the best team in baseball to not even able to compete? Not even able to compete with a team like the Pittsburgh Pirates. Tell me. All right, folks, have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. All right, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned.